Hello everyone, Mr. Foote here. I'm going to do a lesson today on basic shapes. All we're going to do is we are going to start by drawing some circles. And we're going to do our best to make them perfect circles. And what you can do is you can start to kind of clean them up a little bit. If you notice like the corners are rough or there's a wobble in the sphere or circle, try your best to polish these up, okay? Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna incorporate a light source. And what I want you to do, you can put a light bulb somewhere on your page. There, that's a light bulb. And that's going to represent our light source. And what's going to happen is I'm going to try and see if I can't figure out how would the light strike the surface of this sphere. I got to use my imagination because it might depend on if the light is farther or closer to us and the sphere is farther in the distance. And so we're gonna do the exercise kind of like this. Okay. When you do the shading, try and make sure that you shade in the direction of the shape, the contour of the shape. So my shading lines are like this. I'm not using flat lines like that. That will make it look flat. We're trying to create the illusion of volume. And so we need to have a sense for where the darkest part of the shadow might lie, and then sometimes it fades like this, the light. Okay? I'm gonna do the next shape, and to do that, I'm gonna create a vanishing point. And this is my vanishing point. I'll even label it VP for vanishing point. And then what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to draw cubes. But first, we're gonna just make a couple of squares, okay? And obviously a square, as best you can, try and make it 4 equal sides with 90-degree corners, right? So, and they don't have to be all straight. They can be turned like this. Just kind of put them everywhere. The assignment is we're going to do 10 spheres, 10 cubes, and 10 cylinders, okay? So it's going to look something like this. Now, what I want you guys to do, and you can do this 2 ways. You can eyeball it, or you can use a ruler. I like to use a ruler because it makes it perfect. But you're going to connect. Each corner represents one of the sides of a square. Okay. For example, I'm gonna take this corner, and I'm gonna go down to the advantage. I'm gonna take a line, and I'm not gonna press hard. That's a guiding line, and I'm gonna draw that corner all the way down to that point. And I'm gonna take this corner, and I'm gonna do the same thing, all the way down to that point. I'm even gonna take this corner up here. I'm gonna do the same thing, and this corner right there, I'm gonna do the same thing, okay? Now, when I connect, this is the bottom of that cube. I cannot see Now, if it was in reality, the corner actually goes up, and then this kind of goes over, and it goes down like that. Okay, but I can't see those other sides. Okay. In fact, if I use my same light source, looks like that. And now what I want to do is I erase these lines like that. And now I have a cube. Okay, I'll show you another example on this one. So there's my corner. Get that, put it in my proper spot on my vanishing point. I'm going to connect that line to that corner. I'm going to connect that line to that corner. And I'm going to connect this line to that corner. And I'm even going to connect this one to that corner. Now, okay, how a square works, or a cube, is these sides are parallel. Now, if I was to connect that dot all the way across, it would go to that corner and down, just like this. Okay? So you can see I have a cube. What the vanishing point does is it gives us the depth perspective. Okay? This vanishing point is that if you were to look out into the distance, you'll notice like railroad tracks and roads and power lines, they all kind of disappear to a point in the distance, way off on the horizon. And so that's what this simulates, is it's going to draw everything, and we're going to be almost like we're looking at an angle this way. In fact, I'll draw another one right here. That one's not perfect. So I'm gonna, there. Okay, so again, the sides are parallel. And if this wasn't a cube, it is a cube, but on the back, it would have a corner, and I'm just drawing that as a dotted line, and you would see it represented kind of like that. Okay? But the light hitting this surface and the light hitting that surface, it might leave this, if this is in front and this light is going this way, maybe this will be cast in shadow. And again, my lines are straight on this one, because this is a straight shape. Straight sides. Versus the sphere, which is round. So my lines are curved. Okay, those are called contours, right? You follow the contour of the shape. This is a heavy line, like I just weighted it down with that. See, watch this. I'll make this line heavy, okay? And that adds more depth to this cube. Okay, I can erase the lines that don't need to be there, and I can actually see I'm actually kind of lightening up okay. When I erased those lines, what I did was I just it made them lightweight. Okay, just to show you a little progress, I'm kind of just continuing. See how when I draw these spheres, especially the bigger ones, it's really hard to just draw a circle perfectly in one pass. That's why I once I see it, I can correct it. See how I'm kind of improving it? I'm shaving and adding, right? And then when I get it pretty close to the way I want it, I can erase like that. And see how it took me a while to get all these lines right. It's okay. It's okay to spend a little more time polishing these spheres to make them look nice. Try and get them as round as you can, all right? I also left a big square, and I left some of these lines just to show you what this is kind of going for, you know, with the vanishing point. So the goal here, 10 cubes, 10 spheres, using one light source and one vanishing point. And the vanishing point, you guys, is how we get these sides, the depth, right? So for one more time, I'm going to show you how it works, right? I'm going to take each corner back to a vanishing point. Oops. Okay, each corner. Each corner goes right back to the vanishing point. Okay. Let's go like this. Let's make this perfect. Let's make this precise. Okay, so remember, on a cube, when we're just using our eyeball right at this point to try and create depth. Okay? Now, remember, these are parallel, and then these are parallel, these sides. I want this line and that line to be parallel. Okay? Now, if I was to see through this, or maybe this box is open, right? There's the corner back there, and look, it goes to that. So maybe what I have here is an open box. Right? And with my light source, maybe it's shadowed. Right? It's dark back here. In fact, if the light was hitting this wall, it would definitely be shadowed, and it might even be shadowed kind of like this. Who knows? You know? Maybe that whole thing would be. See how I'm shading in the direction of the surface? That really helps to add, you know, reality. Okay? So that's an open cube, and hopefully that helps kind of show what more of these vanishing points can do. Okay? And then again with the spheres, when you shade, the light hits them, right? Depending upon where the object is and how the light strikes it, I want to shade in a circular motion, in a round motion. And I like to lighten in terms of weight. See when I erase that, how it makes it look like the light is striking that surface? And that's why these heavier lines, I want to try and blend those out a little bit. These heavier lines represent the shaded part. Okay? All right. I'm going to get into cylinders now. Here's a cylinder, right? when I set this down, you can only see, and this is see-through, so it actually might even be helpful. But you can see, depending upon where it's shaped, I can only see the one side, the top. I can see through to the bottom. So, in other words, when I have a cylinder, I can see the top, but I can't see the bottom. It's like a pop can sitting on a table, right? So it should look something along these lines like this. That's a shape that we use a lot. We use cylinders a lot when we draw. Okay, and you'll see that more and more as you get more and more into drawing. Okay, I'll draw another cylinder. Okay. And of course, we're going to use the same light source. We're going to practice. So this shading goes around this cylinder like that. See those lines? Those lines help to, and of course, it's also straight up and down. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to fade this light so it's getting lighter and lighter and lighter as it gets to the light source. Then as it goes back around, it gets darker and darker and darker. Kind of like that. And so we'll do the same thing over here. So I use heavier weighted lines in the shaded areas. I use contour lines to articulate or emphasize the surface shape of the object. I use pressure, heavy pressure or light pressure, to create either a dark or a light shadow, kind of like this. And so I'm going to actually lighten this line a little bit and lighten that line a little bit. And those kind of look like they're 3D, right? All right. Okay. As you work on this, you may notice that your hand, at least I know for me, I'm left-handed, but I smear, my hand rests on here. And so just wanted to show you a little tip or a little secret. You can take an extra piece of paper, or, even if it's a tissue, a paper towel or whatever, and you can put that down, and then you can set your arm on that, and you can draw without getting the charcoal all over your hand. Okay? We're going to go back to the cylinders because we're gonna complete them. And one of the things that I like to do is called paper towel tubes. Okay? Paper towel tubes or toilet paper rolls, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm going to create a center. And through that center, I'm going to put a stick or an axle, right? Okay. I'm going to put an axle, and I'm going to make it look, use my eyes best I can, and I'm going to make it look like it goes all the way through. Okay? Like that. Now, what I want to do is I want to put another cylinder. How would I link another cylinder to that? Well, it's going to go like that. It's going to go up. I'm going to create a paper towel roll. So a paper towel roll obviously is not as thick as a paper towel tube. Paper towel roll, okay? And I can see the top of it, almost looks like a marshmallow on a stick. And then I'm going to keep that stick going through it like this. Okay? Now, obviously, if my light source is coming here, it's going to strike this. Maybe it's going to strike up here, and it's going to cast a shadow back there, like that. Maybe it's going to cast a shadow on this little rod like this. And it's going to cast a shadow back there like that. See how that looks like it's 3D? It creates this really awesome depth, okay? And so I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to connect all these cylinders. And what I'm going to do, put my rod through this one. And maybe what I want to do is see how I can angle that and connect that. Kind of like that. Okay. This is a really good exercise for learning how to connect shapes, perspective. So my light source. So maybe right, and this is so I could actually shade a little bit better to make it more cylindrical or rounded. See how I'm using heavy lines to really help push that back, okay? And again, I'm going to curve my lines. And of course, I've shown you this trick before, but a Q-tip is great lightly for just kind of polishing, maybe adding a little bit of a smoothness to these lines. It seems to take away some of that graininess. All right. I just want to shade it just a little bit on this box here. Okay. I left these lines here to kind of show you how this is all shaping up. Now, you don't have to use a ruler. You can use your eyeball. And they don't have to go all the way back to the vanishing point. You can kind of start to get the idea by just eyeballing it in. Right? Eyeballing it in. Right? Kind of like that. So the assignment is to do 10 connected paper and you can. So what happens if I turn the stick this way? Right? Well, the sphere, or the cylinder would be something like this. I can even I know that it goes into the distance, it's going to taper. You don't have to worry about that if you don't want to. And then I'm going to keep my stick going through. It's okay to use your eraser, you guys. That's why we have them. Okay? So, and then maybe I want to bring it back down. Okay? Now let's say I wanted to go the other way. Let's say, okay, I wanted to bring it this way and have it come out of it. See how kind of messy that is? that's okay. That's called being loose. I'm just loosely, and then I tighten it up. And then this is called tightening it up, refining, or I polish it. I start by just getting the general gist of it, and then I work to dial it in. Okay? And drawing is a series of dialing it in kind of moments. You sketch it out, and then you polish it. Okay, so this light source is going to maybe cast that rod off that way, the shadow, like that. And I think this is going to be kind of like this. See, how's that light going to... Sometimes you got to use your imagination and figure out how that light is best going to hit that surface. Maybe it's kind of like that. And obviously that's going to be in shadow. Something kind of like this. See how my lines are going with the cylinder surface shape? Okay, let's do one last little shadow here. Okay. I'm thinking that the light is going to hit and make sure that that's kind of all in shadow there. Okay. I'll keep working on this, and I hope you guys have fun with this. This is a fantastic exercise for basic shapes, a vanishing point, a light source. You're going to use cubes, cylinders, and spheres and those types of shapes all the time when you draw. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you were able to follow along. And let me know if you have any questions.